How do you know my name? Why are you doing this? What's going on?
Don't be too hasty now, son. We don't want you getting hurt now, do we, before you get to see your girl.
Hang on. What?
Only If is a frustrating game. The first release by Creability Software, the game is effectively a Portal or Quantum Conundrum style puzzle game. A series of rooms that push the plot forward by way of conversations with an unseen but very much heard antagonist who tosses hints and witticisms at our hero. It's also a game in which nothing in it really works. But it all fails to work so amazingly that I think it's worth picking apart why. The game opens with our protagonist, Anthony, walking into a house party hoping to hook up with a woman named Sam. As soon as the doors open, you black out and awaken in an unfamiliar bedroom. When you try to leave, a blackness envelops you, and after escaping a trippy blue hallway, a disembodied voice on the radio begins hurling insults and commands.
Okay.
Let's start with you moving over to that mirror.
Wait, mirror? Wait, where?
Start looking for it! You blithering idiot! You dumb nut!
Sorry, wait, where's the mirror? I don't see the mirror.
He's also the first problem the game runs into. Vinny is a terrible antagonist. He's way too hostile and way too shouty without any motivation to be that way.
You know why I asked you to come to the fucking mirror, son? So I can see your face, you ugly fuck! Why don't you take it down and see who is behind the mirror?
Portal works in part because you get the relationship between Shell and GLaDOS. You understand that GLaDOS's need for testing and Shell's desire for survival necessarily put them at odds with one another. But Vinny just seems like someone's skeezy, violent uncle decided to shout at you. And honestly, Anthony's not much better.
Don't you have a job to get to? Get a wife, stop using your right hand, you clammy, everlasting bastard.
Other than the fact that he's got just as foul a mouth as Vinny, the only thing we know about him is that he went to a party hoping to get laid. Nobody in this game is likable, and that's fine in theory, but the act of playing this game is like being stuck in line at Starbucks between an irate customer and a defensive barista.
Give me something.
Like what?
Anything.
What do you mean?
Anthony, I've got a fucking gun aimed at you if you don't type out what do bees make. I'm having you for lunch after a dead day. I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna fuck you up. 5,
Wait, but
4,
no,
1.
wait.
This uncomfortable vibe is carried through most of the game, up to and including the infamous twist ending, which is up there with Sleepaway Camp in terms of taking something not very good to begin with and making sure you leave with a bad taste in your mouth.
The reason why I kept keeping you away from her was because you were gonna fuck your own sister.
What?
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
Ugh. Pretty much everything here is just lowbrow shock humor. Only If is mean-spirited across the board. Anthony and Vinny both deserve each other, and I feel like I have to take a shower every time I play this game.
Give me a direct answer, you fucking pussy.
Pussy. You're the fucking pussy.
So the character and tone just make the game feel icky, but the low-level mechanics make the actual act of playing this game just painful. There's no cohesion to any of the mechanics. Sometimes black goo is bad, like here, where it will kill you. Sometimes black goo is good, like here, where it lets you go to the next level. False walls are common, which isn't a bad trick in and of itself, but when there's nothing signifying that they're different from any of the real walls, and it's not a secret Easter egg, but the only way to proceed, that's a bit of a pain. You hit E to interact with everything in the game world. Everything except boxes, which you have to hit F to carry for some reason. Then there are segments in the game that expect text entry but never actually prompt you for it. You're supposed to just input text into your keyboard with an unbroken first-person perspective. The overall structure may resemble Portal, but the individual mechanics are definitely closer to one of those escape the room games that ask for tremendous leaps in logic and have no mechanical through line. And none of this is helped by level design aimed expressly to confuse players rather than guide them. For example, there's this bit in the game where you run around a corner and have black goo monsters appear. This time the black goo is bad. Your vision blurs, the game prompts you to press E, but pressing E isn't really the answer. The trick, and after about an hour of playing I actually had to look this up in a walkthrough, is to press E to prevent yourself from blacking out, but then to immediately turn around and see that a wall that had been there has simply disappeared off screen as soon as the monster spawned. So, your vision goes blurry, you have seconds to respond, your focus is on the enemies that the game spawns that it shows you moments before you can defeat by pressing E, but the real answer is to turn around because a wall just vanished. Right. Then there's the puzzle where you have to find 9 trash cans in a park. 8 of them are right alongside the path. The 9th, it's off in a corner of the map where no one would ever put a trash can. because of course it is. This ridiculous lack of coherency even shows up in perhaps the most iconic part of the game. The player has to choose between a black pawn piece and a white pawn piece. They represent, supposedly, a choice between saving yourself but sacrificing Sam, or saving the lady you fancy but sacrificing yourself in the process.
Well, I'm definitely saving myself.
This choice does not work. At all. Not even a little bit. First, we're barely minutes into the game when we're asked to make this decision. We have never met Sam, we don't know the exact nature of her relationship with Anthony other than that he wants to get into her pants. We don't know if Vinny is a credible threat, we have no insight into why Anthony would choose one choice over the other. There's no real sense of threat here, no weight or meaning to the decision, and no ability to roleplay. But worse, you're not actually deciding who to sacrifice or who to save. Sam is never really in danger, and Anthony ends up in danger regardless of what choice he picks. Really, you're choosing what set of levels you want to play. If you choose the black pawn, you're gassed and have to escape from an old mill while being hunted by Vinny. If you choose the white pawn, you proceed to additional puzzle rooms. Not that you would know that based on the choice the game is actually asking you to make. But it's even worse than that, because it turns out that it's a false choice. The quote-unquote right way to win the game is the path of the white pawn, so if you pick that piece, you just play the rest of the game through to completion. But if you choose the black pawn, you complete the escape sequence and then start the game over again with only the white pawn option open to you as if the escape sequence was all a dream.
What do you want me to do?
White pawn.
It's a decision that has no weight while you're making it, gives the player no knowledge of what they're actually deciding, and turns out to not really matter all that much to begin with. It's complete nonsense. This whole game is complete nonsense. Or is it? There are interviews and even an artist's statement on the Steam forums where the developers claimed Only If is heavily influenced by Samuel Beckett and the theater of the absurd. And I can kind of see that. The player is forced into a system with arbitrary rules beyond, well, frankly, anyone's comprehension, and are asked to form rhyme and reason from those systems in order to proceed, which is, frankly, a doomed effort. The game is placing you in a capital A absurd situation. And pretty much all of the mechanics, from the purposeless, meaningless pawn choice to the inconsistent inputs to the walls that are not really walls, form what appears to be an attempt at, for lack of a better phrase, ludic absurdism across the whole game. There's not really any plot structure, there's no cohesion to the game's world and setting, there's no real systemic focus. But there are some problems with that reading. First, the absurdist structure conflicts with the game's more obvious attempts at concrete themes. There are a lot of bits where the game feels like it wants to engage in a sort of generational criticism. It wants to act as something of a millennial self-critique.
Let's talk about how kids like you take responsibility by manning up.
By the time I get out of here, I'll be the one calling the cops on you!
Cops? Through what phone? No. All young men want the thug life.
But that hard stuff doesn't really gel with the absurdism the game is otherwise structured around. And you end up with really ham-fisted segments like the faux thug life level about smoking pot and shooting guns, placed next to a level about gravity randomly inverting. The game is very much about a college student in his early 20s getting abducted by an older man for a vague yet menacing purpose, then critiquing both of them. But it's also about this absurdism experiment. And the two never really reconcile. Second of all, absurdism is a philosophy about the world we live in, our attempts to wrestle with desires for order and meaning in a universe vast, uncaring, and incomprehensible. But it's not the universe that's nonsensical here, it's game mechanics put there by a designer. Even in the world of the game, Vinny seems to have been the one to design these puzzles and challenges. We're not being presented with an absurd universe, we're being asked to deal with systems that were simply built to frustrate, either us or Anthony. More to the point, the problem with this approach to implementing absurdism with mechanics is that in a formal system, things do have meaning, at least relative to other parts of the system. For example, progress through content is, at least colloquially, an implicit win state. We might not be able to have a complete understanding of the universe or a complex economic system, and it might be folly to try, but I think we can internalize an escape from the room puzzle game's states. The room puzzle scripted format of Portal doesn't lend itself to this line of absurdist inquiry through incomprehensible complexity and lack of reason. The solutions to the puzzles and the progress through the rooms are, all other things being equal, the meaning and point behind the system that was built to highlight the absurdity of a universe without a meaning and point. And frankly, absurdism can't be a crutch for making a game this annoying to play any more than minimalism can be a justification for an architect building a house with no doors. It's just such an odd duck of a game. Highbrow aspirations that don't quite work cast against repugnant lowbrow sex humor and insults. And as much as I really hate the characters and felt frustrated by the mechanics, and even after trying to dig deeper getting even more frustrated, I couldn't stop thinking about it. It's a complete mess of a game, but at least it's an interesting mess.
I give up. Just do whatever you want. Just finish it.
Do you have any idea how perverted that sounded?
Just do it.
Fuck no! Oh! Fuck me!
Fuck you!
No, fuck you!
That's what I thought, you pedophile.